Greetings, comrades, and welcome to the Rad Gaming Podcast. I'm Pescador.
And I'm Jemshi. And in this episode of the podcast, we talk about Apple Arcade, which is Apple's new game streaming service, which will rival Google Stadia.
And also, Disney's mounting frustration with EA and their hopes to resurrect LucasFilm Games.
And then we talk about what really matters, which is the correct pronunciation of certain words that Pescador and I surprisingly disagree on. Let's get into it. Alright. Waffles, French toast, or pancakes? Let's go. Debate.
Alright, I'll do that. Damn, that's a good one. I don't know. French toast, I feel like has the upper hand in my opinion, because you can decorate that thing with tons of stuff. Do you ever have stuffed French toast? That stuff is really good.
No, I didn't even know that was a thing.
It is. They have I went to another Broken Egg cafe, and I actually had like this blueberry stuffed French toast. Oh, it was awesome. They had like cream cheese, and then inside the cream cheese was blackberries. It was so good.
That sounds like diabetes.
that probably is, but it was.
You can just
so
feel
good.
the years of your life just draining as you eat it. You know.
I guess with anything with breakfast, man, because if it doesn't have syrup on it, it's not good.
I think for me, I would have to go with pancakes because you can like stack them, which makes it like. I don't know.
See,
when I want to be healthy, I want to know like I can just like keep on adding more and more and being like, you know what I mean? Like,
but you can do so much stuff with pancakes too. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter. It's like anything that can like for breakfast, you can. I really don't think there's a valid argument. I mean, I can't really like sway one way or the other. Like every way I think about it, waffles are good because you can put blueberries in waffles and chocolate chips in waffles. You can do that pancakes. You can do that French toast. You know what I mean? Like it's just everything. Right. So.
I know people like waffles because like it holds all the syrup and like butter and everything.
Oh my god, you're a syrup person, not a syrup?
What?
I heard you say syrup. Yeah. Do you say syrup or syrup?
Syrup?
Yes, it's syrup. Syrup.
Wait, what?
I
feel like I should have noticed this when I was at your house last.
Yes, it's syrup.
I noticed you.
I don't say syrup.
I guess I thought
not a sociopath.
What?
I don't say
syrup.
Is it syrup? I say syrup. I don't know if it's weird or what.
Huh. I wonder if that's like a cultural thing or what, based on where you're from.
I have no idea. I know there's some.
I never heard syrup before.
Really?
I thought maybe I thought you said it and I was like, aha, he's being funny.
No, it's syrup is the way I say it. Syrup just sounds like you're like too good for everyone. You're like, oh, got some syrup. You know, like I don't know.
That's what syrup sounds like because you're trying to be like
syrup, like syrup. I don't know. It's a weird thing for me. Do you say?
I feel like all the arguments you're making against mine, I can make a
I know, right? It's kind of like it's breakfast all over again. Like I can't argue any way for them. But are you the crayon or crayon? Like, please.
Wait, crayon?
Yeah, people say crayon. And it drives me. Yeah, crayon. Oh, that's what it is. Crayon. See, I don't say it, so I can't.
Crayon?
I hate that word.
I think that's how I say it. I don't know. Crayon?
Yeah. Wait,
crayon?
Do you say crayon? You just said I heard a crayon. Oh my god!
Now that I think of it, I had a crayon.
Oh my god! Is this dude? I say crayon and I don't say crayon.
Yeah, it's crayon. I say crayon.
I think we realize. Oh my god! I think we just need to move on because this is going nowhere. We just say the opposite words all the time. Okay. Anywho, remember last time in the last podcast between you and I, we actually talked about. A Major League Baseball player taking a baseball bat to a TV and breaking it because people were playing games.
Yeah.
So, have you watched wrestling before?
I've seen clips of wrestling. I've never watched the...
You've never watched wrestling? Oh.
Whole match, I guess is what it's called.
Yeah. Well, I mean... So, I used to love wrestling. And I saw this coming across the headlines and I was like, dang, this is hilarious. There was a wrestler I used to watch. His name is Booker T. He's still in the WWE right now. And apparently, he was playing video games like backstage, and he got him banned for everybody else because he was playing them so frequently. Like he was missing his cues and things like that. So
do we know what games he was playing?
I can look at the article, but I don't think it stated which game he was playing.
It's kind of hilarious. We're like,
said he was setting up a game of Madden NFL backstage. So he was playing Madden.
That almost seems like a little bit of betrayal because it's like not even the right sport. Like if he was playing some kind of wrestle game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how funny would that be?
Like I can see that, but like you're like not even playing. You're playing football. Like it's not. You know.
I mean, Madden's pretty addicting. I'm not gonna lie. I do enjoy me some Madden. But can you imagine him just being like, his name is John Cena? Just like runs out. He's obviously he's Booker T playing John Cena or something, or he plays himself and just narrates for himself. That'd be pretty funny. Like in third person. That's pretty.
I feel like he could even start like his own Twitch channel if he played like wrestling games. Like as a wrestler playing like if you're a football player and you played football games or something like that, I can see that being like the ultimate revenue stream where it's just like you can see into the mind of a football player playing a football video game.
You know what? I'm sure there has to be something now. I don't know.
I'm sure there's a couple people. Like I know that there's like some celebrities that are on Twitch.
Yeah.
I don't know like about baseball players. I know like what is it? T-Pain? He's on Twitch.
T-Pain?
Yeah.
Oh man. I love
Usually
T-Pain.
it's him kicking back and like drinking and playing whatever game or whatever.
Dude,
talking about he's like,
I can totally see T-Pain drinking and just playing some
yeah,
games.
he's sitting back and he's like, yeah, I'm about to go make another $80K in the recording studio. Like just
does he even come up with songs anymore?
I don't know. I just know all he has to do is go to the recording studio, make probably like, you know, 100K probably easily within like a month and be like, all right, cool, I'm set for like another year.
I can see him being a producer, you know, because a lot of people that did something with their music career, they've became producers, and I can understand that. That's you know.
I mean, he probably has. I don't really follow him. I just saw that he was on Twitch, and I like logged in for a little bit and saw him flexing with like how much money he's gonna make and how much he's drinking. I'm like, all right, dude, like,
and what he's drinking. No, but it's crazy. But I did also see that EA was in charge basically of building all of the Star Wars games to this point. Like Disney sold them the rights to do such a thing into the early 2020s, and I just read an article that they are trying to resurrect LucasArts games. Yeah, I couldn't think of it. I want to say LucasArts films because
Yeah, I think I've played a couple of those like on the N64.
You play like Battlefront. I want to say
Oh, on the 64? I think it was like Rogue Squadron and like pod racing and stuff like that. Those are some like early LucasArts.
Oh yeah,
games.
but yeah, I was just saying
those are like the ones before like
LucasArts games
and all those like Star Wars games really took off as like a
selling
franchise.
Man, I played Battlefront, but I was not so impressed with it, and they came up with 2, and like I have EA access on my Xbox, so I get to play those games after it's been out for a while, and they kind of go for free, and you get to play them, which is fun. But I didn't really get into them. Like I liked it at first. I thought it was pretty good, but it got very monotonous. Like it kept the same stuff kept on happening, you know. It was interesting, but like a lot of people were not thrilled by it, and that's kind of why Disney did this. They put a new rec out or a new position or job opening for, you know, someone to help lead EA to, you know, a better horizon, if you could, with the Star Wars games.
Wow, that's almost like a burn in itself, just to like.
Well, it is. It blows my mind because like so many people are so disappointed, and reportedly, Disney is a little upset with EA as well. So the frustration's like everywhere with EA.
It's like building. Yeah, I think now that I think about it, there really aren't that many like Star Wars games franchises. Like you see like Lego Star Wars, that, you know, like I feel like that's almost like that's not really a Star Wars series because it's just Lego Star Wars set in, or Lego like the game franchise set in Star Wars, because they have like other Lego games that aren't set in the franchise. And I mean, I don't know, I feel like they really do need to kind of revamp that, you know, whole
they're
Star Wars.
Supposed to be coming out with a new game, actually, since EA, you know, is a distributor of games. They're pairing with was it Respawn for is it Star Wars Jedi Fallen Jedi, or Fallen Order? That's what it is. I couldn't remember it. I just
okay.
But they're coming out with this year, and it actually looks like it's a story driven game instead of like an online massive like, you know,
shooting
is that
game. Probably I think I might have heard about that one, or that there's like they're really trying to get like a new story arc from Star Wars, where like right after the Jedi falls, like as they're falling, there's still Jedi that are left that you know, like Yoda went out into hiding
after Order
who's
66.
To say that there's other who's to say that other Jedi are also in hiding, and we just never got to see them in the story, so it kind of like follows them. And I'm hoping that's kind of what that's where the video game story takes place, like just following other Jedi.
I mean, with Respawn, I'm hoping that they pull out a good game. I mean, it's just tough to see what they can do. I know I played a bunch of Respawn games in the past, like Titanfall, and they did a pretty good job, but most of it was online, so you couldn't really play story mode in Titanfall. It was like an online story mode, which is strange to say. Like, you still fought other people online while doing the story mode. And I haven't really seen anything from Respawn that would, suggest that they're pretty good in the single player kind of like the campaign kind of role thing. So I don't know. I want to see like a really good story driven game out of them.
Yeah, there was one game I played. I can't remember what it was called though. It was back when I played on the GameCube. It was some kind of Jedi game, and it was like a third person like Jedi game. And I only played it with my siblings, and it was like a multiplayer game where you could run around and just like hit each other with lightsabers and fight. And it was just awesome because it had like, if you were the Sith, you could do like lightning.
Are you talking about are you talking about Battlefront? Star Wars Battlefront? Like you could play as,
it wasn't Battlefront.
Because you could play as like members of like Jedi members or like Boba Fett on like the Sith side.
Yeah, but it wasn't that game. That's the thing. I couldn't remember. It was. I remember specifically not being Battlefront.
It was a Star Wars.
That's the thing. I couldn't remember the game. Like I'll look it up later.
Well, they have KOTOR, but you're not talking about KOTOR. I know that. No. You can't play online with other people.
It was some kind of Jedi game.
KOTOR. I said KOTOR. KOTOR. Man, it's like crazy.
I would love to. I just would love to see some kind of Jedi game where you're very just lightsaber driven. Battle mechanics or something like that, because I feel like that'd be just pretty awesome just to see. Like
they had Jedi Outcast or something like that back in was that GameCube?
That might have been what it was.
It's been so long since I played it. Like that game, I can't remember what it was,
but it was definitely a while ago. Like it was over 10 years ago.
Yeah, I honestly can't remember what it is. It's gonna drive me insane.
Yeah, I would love to see another game like that, just because it was like they had. I don't know. That's the mechanics of that game were just pretty fun. I mean, I'm sure the Battlefront might have been better for all I know. I never played it, but it was definitely a fun game for me, at least.
I enjoy using like the Force and stuff. They were supposed to call this game a long time ago that really dealt with like the Force and using gravity and that kind of incorporated that kind of mechanics into the game. It looked really good, but I don't remember. They never released it, and I don't remember what happened to it. But it looked really good, and then they stopped making it.
Yeah, I remember seeing that and being like super impressed, because I remember it was supposed to be like in the game you could stop like a Death Star or something like that.
Well, they still did something like that, but like it was one of these games that like it was so realistic that if you threw something and hit a board a certain way, that the board would crack and ripple in that direction and like fall to the ground. If more of it broke off, like it's really intuitive. Like not intuitive. Interactive is the word I'm looking for. It was really interactive, like with the environment. So like you broke something, it'll lay on the floor and you kick it around. But this was like cutting edge, and this was back in the day, probably about like 10, less than 10.
Yeah, it seems like to me that all the games that were very like physics intensive, like all of the interactive worlds like that, they seem like they never really like finished like their projects, because it seemed like that was just too ambitious for the amount of like work that they probably had to do.
Man, I'm trying to think. There was a Star Wars. Let me see this real fast. Star Wars Force Unleashed.
Not it.
No. It was Star Wars Force Unleashed, and that's what it was. Just in general, like it wasn't that game that I'm talking about, but I remember I played this game a lot, but I wasn't impressed by it either. Like I was like really excited that a new Star Wars game came out, and I bought it, but I never really got a chance to like get like the story was okay, but it wasn't that good. I'll be honest. Like you can customize your character and things like that, and whatever path you wanted to go down, you can change your path to Sith, or you can go to the light side. You know what I'm saying? Like it was okay. And then they did the Force Unleashed 2 or something like that, and still wasn't that good. But the only game I really liked was KOTOR. KOTOR was awesome.
What was that one?
So you get to like it was an RPG for Star Wars, and what they did was they let you like pick your character, and you can get 2 other characters to go with, and you fought. It was like a turn-based game, so like you'd strike once, and your team would strike the other team, and then like you had to plan your attacks out accordingly, kind of like Final Fantasy almost. Did you ever play Final Fantasy?
I played a little bit of Final Fantasy.
Okay, so like basically you had to like plan your strikes out.
Number I can't remember.
Oh, that's fine. But you had to plan your strikes out and stuff. I remember this one part, like I was on the bridge with some crazy Jedi, and I could not beat him because it was like him and like 5 other people, and like I had to keep on throwing grenades. Like that's the only way I beat him. I was like I kept on throwing grenades with every character. I was like up grenade toss, up grenade toss, up grenade toss. It would just get ridiculous, but like that was the only way I could beat him because like it was really tough. But it was such a fun game because I remember this one part. I was running around for the longest time, couldn't figure out what to do. You had to like hide like this kind of like bomb inside this dead carcass, and then this giant creature would go up and eat it, and then it blew up and died. But like I couldn't figure it out for the longest time. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, how do I get past this creature? And it was pretty basic, straightforward, but I couldn't figure it out. But KOTOR was
that's kind of
awesome.
funny because I think like I've had like other games where it's like a lot of times the game is just like the solution is just so simple, but I've been stuck on it for so long because like I just didn't realize like how to beat it, or I just got so stuck. The only one that I could like think of off the top of my head was it was Star Fox Adventures. I was playing that game, and there's like one part in the game where all you have to do is you have to beat this guy in like a tug of war kind of game, and all you have to do is just mash the A button faster than like he does, basically, like the computer AI. And I could just not beat that for the life of me. Like I got stuck on it for somehow, and then I had basically like develop like a technique to like mash the A button like super fast. So
yeah,
like that's all I learned.
Just like straight up pull the controller and hurry up and just tap A real fast.
Yeah, like you just like start like vibrating your hand just like insanely fast, and that's all I would do. And like my brother would like get like a pen and he'd rub the button really fast so that like it would just like hit the like push it. And like I don't know, like there was all these different weird things that we did just to beat that one part in the game. And I felt like it was just like, and then I looked up later that actually what you were supposed to do is you were supposed to let him win at the beginning and then mash the A button and win.
So you didn't solve
But
wrong.
like I never once occurred to me to ever try that because I was like, oh, I have to beat him. As soon as he starts beating me, I've instantly lost. So like I just would give up. So like it was just funny. Like that's how the game was supposed to be, is that oh, you're supposed to like let him win,
yeah,
and then you would beat him, and you wouldn't have to actually tap as fast as I did.
What games? I used to get stuck on games like that all the time. Well, I remember Resident Evil. I get stuck on all the time. It sucked. Like I would go into a room and I'm like, you're supposed to like this door is locked. I'm like, okay, let me go find a key. And I'd like run around forever, and it would be like on a desk right in front of me. I'm like, it has to be in one of these crates. And I'm like looking through all the crates. I'm like, on a body, like, and then like nothing, and then I'm like running around. And it's like clear as day, like on a desk. I'm like, I literally spent like I remember this off by heart. Like I spent like 2 hours searching for this key. I'm like, I give up. And then I literally like shut down the game, go back on it the next day, and like as soon as I started up, I look and there's a key right on the desk. I'm like,
has that always been there?
did they just put that key there? Like that? And no.
That was like a pity from the devs. They were just like, all right, this guy can't get it.
I feel so bad for this kid. He's never gonna find it. Here you go. Here's your key. But no, those and like what's those rapid succession of keys that you have to hit like during like cutscenes? I hate those things. My heart races.
Oh. Right, there's a term for that.
Yeah, I don't remember I call myself a gamer and I can't even remember the name of that, but like it drives me insane. Like I don't know if you've ever had a parent or like an uncle or an aunt that played video games, but my uncle played religiously, and I would go over his place and we'd play whatever game it was, and every time that came up, I'm like, Uncle, take control. I don't want to do this. Like I hated it. Absolutely hated that part, dude. I get so nervous. Like the sweat start pouring down my face. Even right now, like when I play, for example, Banjo-Kazooie. I know it's not a rapid succession button hitting, but like running for those boulders, like you have to run like the camera's ahead of you, and you have to run towards the camera, and the boulder's behind you. So like
I thought that was like
you have
Crash
to like
Bandicoot or something.
What did I say?
Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. I did not mean to say that.
I was like, I don't know.
I call myself a gamer, and I can't even get those two right, even though I love them. Crash Bandicoot, yes. But, like, I would, like, oh, man.
That one would frustrate me so much because you get so close to the front of the screen that you couldn't see what was in front of you, and you just instantly fall into, like, a crater or a hole, whatever they were.
Yeah, because they have to, like, kind of, like, fall back a little bit so you can see just a little bit in front of you. Because, you know, if you don't, then you'll fall in a hole. It was awful. But that, now, I just found out Spyro. I started playing Spyro with my fiance quite a bit, and there's a part that you have to fly around and collect things and blow things up, like chests, and, like, go through these rings and stuff. So, like, it's like 7, like, go through 7 rings. Not an Ariana Grande song, but you know what I'm talking about. And then, I'm so lame, I know, I'm sorry. But, you know, blow up planes that are in the air, blow up crates, go through these rings and stuff, and that frustrates me. Any time trial things like freak me out, man. Like I am so stressed out. It takes years off my life. I swear, can't do them.
Yeah, I'm more of a. I get competitive with time trials. Like I always like, even when I'm like actually doing well, I'm like, I could have done better. Like, I think I could be. I think I have that speedrunner mentality where I'm like, I got to find the optimal path to figure out how to solve something.
Once I'm done, I'm done. I don't go back. That's the amount of stress that I don't care if there's like 1 second left to spare. I'm like, I can definitely do better, but I'm not going through that stress again. Because I know if I go back and fail it, then I'm going to be like, gotta get this, and I'll go back again until I win. And it might be like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. When I get something in my mind, I have to do it. It's the worst. So like I beat it once and I'm like done.
Addictive personality, or is it more obsessive? I think it's probably more obsessive. Right?
Actually, yeah. I think it's more
probably a combination of both.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Well, speaking of combination of both, that's a really bad segue, but I'll go with it anyway. So last podcast we were talking about Google Stadia, which was the announcement that we were trying to predict for on last Tuesday.
Yeah.
So Google Stadia is basically Google's gaming streaming platform. So basically you can play games, and instead of having a console, they will stream the gameplay to your like handheld device or something, or to, you know, your computer, and then they have their own controller that syncs up with the Google Stadia. So, interesting enough, Apple has just announced their own game streaming network or
what
platform.
A surprise.
Surprise. Called Apple Arcade. So, and this is obviously Apple exclusive, so it's only available on like the Apple devices, like the iPhone, you know, their tablet, their, you know, what is it? Their Apple TV, I think it's called.
Apple TV.
Yeah, and then they got like their computers, obviously. And from what I've read, they actually only have like Apple exclusive games. So these are games that are being developed for this service that are only exclusive to Apple. So I don't think they have any. I think they have a couple of games that are pretty like awesome, but I haven't seen. I'll have to look through the list again, but
are they?
I haven't seen like very many like, oh man, like this is only on Apple. I guess I'm going to get an Apple phone. Like it seems like they're just a couple. Like if I named a couple of these games, you probably wouldn't have heard any of them. So, but yeah. I think this is just interesting to see how Google and Apple have both kind of taking a they take a direction towards gaming, because I feel like they suddenly realize that gaming is like, you know, multi-billion-dollar industry, and they're trying to now start tapping into that. Because, like we've discussed before with the Epic Game Store, we talked about that the success of a new gaming marketplace is a large user base, and Google and Apple both have that.
Yep.
You know, like Apple has a bunch of Apple users, people who have Apple phones, and now they can start, you know.
But they don't have what Epic Games had. They didn't have an Epic hit. And it's not really much of a pun. I wasn't trying to go for some crazy thing to spin off of that, but no, they didn't have like an epic win like of a game. You know, look, Epic Games came out with Fortnite, and they did fantastic. It's free to play. Everyone played that game. Google, they don't have anything. They're just like, I want to just dabble in the gaming market. You know what I'm saying? And then same with Apple. So I don't think that they're going to get the response that they think they would like want, you
Yeah,
know.
I think they have to start including games that we could get elsewhere. Like, let's say that you can get this game on PC. Like, let's say Fortnite. Like, if Apple Arcade didn't have Fortnite, or you know, Google Stadia didn't have Fortnite, I bet you they wouldn't do very well. Or like, you know, Apex Legends or something like that.
Yep.
And I think that they do have they are trying to plan for those kind of games, but I'm just kind of interested to see what the market is, like how the, what am I trying to say here? Like how the service pricing works. Is it just a monthly fee? Like, is it a flat monthly fee? Like, I can see that, like, okay, if you're playing a bunch of games every month, are you going to be charged more? Like, do you need to get a premium package or premium?
But I mean, when does it end? I mean, if you think about it, like I already pay Netflix. You pay Hulu, right?
I get it with my Spotify, which is actually pretty awesome.
Oh, so I pay Spotify as well. And what I'm trying to get at is we have all these monthly like fees that we constantly. I have a 1 yearly fee or a couple yearly fees with PlayStation Plus, you know, and also Xbox Live. It's crazy to think that they're coming out with so much stuff that like you like monthly or yearly kind of basis. Like, when does it end? And why would I go with Apple products when just because they have Apple, you know, made games? I don't know. Like, it doesn't get me to go there yet.
Yeah, I do see that there are like a lot of these games and services are all trying to go to subscription based, which in like the software world is called a SaaS model, like SaaS for software as a service. So like that's what they did with the Adobe Cloud. Like now it's, you know, the cloud instead of just, you know, the Creative Suite is now on the cloud, so it's subscription based. Yeah, and like you said, I feel like after a point, the market is going to be too saturated with these like subscription models. Not everyone can pay for all of these things. Like, you know,
I mean, on top of that, they're buying games too. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, if some game comes out that you really want to buy, say I want to buy, what is it? Jedi Fallen Order that Respawn comes out. You know, it just, the game is awesome. Say it's great. I want to buy that. It's a $60 game right there, or maybe $30. Who knows? But still, mostly the new games are be $60. Like, I want to buy a few of them. I'm like, Red Dead came out not too long ago. More games are going to come out in the future. Like, I'm going to keep on spending $60 for a game, but I don't want to pay a service for me maybe playing some Apple like specific games. Like,
yeah, I think like it does have its upside. Where let's say that the ideal subscription model is that you can play an unlimited amount of games for an unlimited amount of time for one. Like, let's say $9.99 a month, something like that. Let's say you could play Fortnite, Apex Legends, all those games for $9.99 a month. Like, would you do that? Like, it's every game that you've played currently, like, and more for $9.99 a month. Like, is that something that you would consider?
So you're telling me that they have everything that Steam does? It's hypothetical. That's hypothetical.
We don't know for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm saying hypothetically.
If they did have everything Steam has,
then,
but like,
I mean, yeah, okay. If that were the case, $9.99 a month to get unlocked to any game that I possibly want, yeah, in my opinion, that's worth it. I can play whatever game I want, and I would pay a year in advance. I'll be completely honest, 100.
Right. You know, I mean, the only downside is like for me is
like, $120.
Yeah, it's $120 a year, and
that's two full new games.
Yeah, so that's 2 games, but you get the price of like all the other games. And the only thing I can see is that a lot of the people's concern of like Apple Arcade and Google Stadia is like, what's the performance like? Is this something I can play competitively? Like, let's say you wanted to play, you know, Apex Legends, and you're like, well, if I have a little bit of lag, anybody who's playing on a console has the upper hand on me or something.
Yeah.
Or I could see that. So that's where I kind of think that maybe competitive level games will always stay on PC. Yeah. But like, that's what I'm saying. If it was a subscription like that, I feel like they would definitely start winning people over.
Let's be honest. They're not going to do a $99 a month thing because they, not even Microsoft does that. And what Microsoft does is like an Xbox. I think it's like I can't remember the name of the pass, like a monthly pass, and they like give you the newest games for like $10, and like it's like a bunch of games, not unlocked to everything, but they give you a bunch of newish games that you can play for $10. And honestly, I don't think they're doing too well with it because every time I turn around, they're selling it for like I see like buy it for $1 for like, for a month, like buy it for $2 for 2 months. Like, yeah, I just like, if they're having, and I don't know if this is true. I haven't really researched it, to be honest, but if they're trying to push this for such a cheap price, and if the model's working, I mean, they wouldn't push it for such a cheap price. So,
right, they would leave it at the price that it was originally set at.
Correct,
like $10.
Yeah,
it would never go down if it was actually selling.
Yeah, not to that extreme. Like, I can just understand maybe down the road it'd be like $8.99, yeah, or like maybe $5, like smash deal for the weekend or something, like one weekend. Yeah. But every time I log on Xbox, it's always on there. It's like $2 for 2 months, or $2 for 1 month, or $1 for 1 month. Like, it's always like this crazy deal that's going down, because I don't think they're getting that many people to get it. And that raises the question, like, what makes Apple think that they can pull off something that Microsoft can't? And Microsoft has the games. They had the user base.
Yeah. I see where you're going with this. And I do see that the problem is, like, they do need to have the games and then they have a good price, because I can't see them actually doing this for $9.99. Like, that's hypothetically, and I can't imagine that they would ever do that.
Well, and also, let's be real. I mean, like, system exclusive games, like, they're kind of thrown to the wayside. I mean, I don't really see too many system exclusive games anymore. I mean,
right, like, they see the potential. Like, let's say Fortnite, if that was a PC exclusive, let's say that was it. Everyone who played, Xbox and PS4, like, they were all asking, for a lot of the, like, PUBG, they wanted that on console.
Yep.
Some people that play PS4 or Xbox, like, they don't want to switch over to PC because they know the investment to getting into a gaming PC is just pretty expensive compared to a console. So I see the benefit of a lot of games trying to be, like, platform inclusive, I guess. Is that the term?
Yeah.
Where you try to be on as many platforms as possible.
Yeah.
So that's why I really do see that. I think that's the one thing that I think the exclusives probably only do it because they're locked into a contract with maybe, Microsoft or Sony or something, saying, hey, develop this game for only us.
We'll pay you big money. Yeah.
Extra. We'll make up that difference, that you could have made on.
Honestly, is the whole reason why I bought the original Xbox. Like, Halo was such an amazing game. The first Halo, I loved it. And I played at my friend's house. I was hooked on it. I'm like, I need to get the Xbox just for Halo. And I did. But, like, that you don't see anymore. I've never seen a system exclusive game come out, and I'm like, I need to get it just so I can. Because, like, are you going to buy an Apple product? How expensive every single Apple product is just to play Apple. You know what I'm saying? Like, in my mind, the original Xbox back in the day wasn't super expensive, but it wasn't cheap. But, like, every single Apple product anymore is super expensive.
Yeah, I know. And then they know that it's going to be a subscription based. Like, you're going to have to pay for this gaming service. I doubt it's going to be free for all Apple users, because, like, this has to make money somehow.
Yeah.
So I think they're probably currently marketing to people who already have iPhones, and they're like,
well,
wow,
course.
Because, like, they're almost like rewarding the people that have it. But I just think it's just going to be so expensive just to have a model like this. And I wonder what the performance is going to be like.
You know what, though? I think it's interesting that you do talk about this, because I remember my biggest concern is I wanted to go on, like, I wanted to design stuff. I wanted to be a graphics designer. Like, that's what I wanted to do. So I did what any graphics designer does. They bought a MacBook coming out of, like, going to college. So, like, I need a MacBook. I bought one. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to download Steam. I'm going to play some games on it. And guess what? Most of the games on Steam are not compatible with, the operating system in general.
Yeah.
Like, iOS, like, it doesn't work. Like, you can't. So I was hurt. I can play Half-Life 2. I can play Portal. Those games are fun, but only for so long,
Right, because you start, grass is greener, where you start seeing all these games you could play, but you can't.
So maybe this is their attempt at trying to get, like, help out people that couldn't get access to most of the games and it wasn't compatible.
Yeah, I can see that, but I do think that, back in, like, when games were it wasn't as big as it is now. Like, when Halo came out, it probably wasn't, as big of a seller as, like, it is now. Like, if they were releasing a new Halo game, it probably would make a lot more. So they would like that to be on a lot more platforms. But
yeah,
from what I see, I think that the reason exclusives aren't really popular anymore is because they realize that whatever they put out on one system, somebody else is going to make a clone of that, make it on all platforms. Like, somebody's willing to take that like hit. They're gonna be like, okay, well, I won't be platform exclusive. I'll put in the extra time and effort to make this, on all platforms, and this will sell better because more people will be playing it.
Dude, what I just thought about right now, actually, it kind of blows my mind. If I would think about it correctly, Apple is super locked down. Security is tight with Apple products. There's no getting around that, There's going to be no mods that I can think of in my mind because I don't think the developers over at Apple are going to be like, let's let people tinker around with this kind of system.
Yeah, you're right.
Just because it just blows my mind because some of the best games came from mods. And you don't see too many heavy mods anymore, but that's the fun part about it. I would always add I played Rome Total War and things like that, and I always add like big battle packs that you can get onto them and stuff, and some mods that I really, really loved. But I'm sure you couldn't do. This is just speculation. I don't know, but I really doubt they can let mods. That's what I'm saying.
Unless it's the game is built into you know what I mean? The game's gonna have to be built to be modded, so to say.
Modded so they can be modded, so they can't get outside of.
You're gonna think you're modding the game, but that's just how the game was made to be made. So
maybe.
Although I do realize that now that we were talking about it, that Nintendo is a very, gaming exclusive console.
I was thinking about it when we were saying it, but
I do realize that we have to acknowledge that does
but
work.
It tends to a certain niche. It's not
it's a very family friendly kind of
but niche. what does Mac go for? What is their target audience?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of Apple users are people that want to be graphic designers. They're using it because they want to, like you said, graphic design, maybe sound design, video, production.
And granted, not everybody uses a Mac for that reason, but let's be honest. The reason why most people get Macs is because they're very artistic individuals and they want to buy a Mac, and because they have a lot of things that can help, with artwork. Tons of things that can help. Some things can help with programming. Depends if you're working with that kind of operating system or not. But you know what I mean. But I just don't see the user base there. Maybe they're.
I don't see.
Maybe they're catering to people with iPads. I don't know, or iPhones.
Yeah,
but not
I see that they've got the App Store for games. That's where some of the games are. But that's the kind of gamers they that are on Apple. You said, you couldn't play many of the games that were on Steam, so you got a Windows PC, right?
I actually did a dual boot, so I could actually load Windows on my Mac, which is pretty bad. I know people are probably gonna shun me for that, but I had to because I had to get Microsoft Word working on there, and also Steam.
Right. That's that's the thing. Give yourself whatever reason you want.
Yeah, I was I wanted to put Steam on there too. I'm not gonna lie.
But like you said, I think that Windows has definitely capitalized, whether they meant to or not, to capitalize on a lot of the gamers. If you're gaming on a computer, it's Windows. You haven't been playing gaming on a Mac at all.
Yeah, So that's what I'm saying. It goes back to me saying, what do they expect? People to just be I'm going to buy a $2,000 MacBook Pro that has, a really good graphics card, so I'm just going to play games on it. People are invested already into, Windows products. You know what I'm saying? I'm not rocking.
Yeah, and you can't, and I think also the other part of, let's say that it's a PC gaming. Let's just talk about that with Apple and Windows. With a Windows computer, you can change up your specs, all your hardware, all you want. On an Apple, you really can't do that. They have maybe one or two things.
You can, but
they make it very difficult to the point that you might as well go to a Windows computer because they've got so many things that are just you get it's built into the monitor, all that stuff, and you can only really buy it. And once you buy it, you can't really take it apart and mod it unless you just have So they make it really difficult. So I just feel a lot of gamers really won't be playing on a Mac because they're I'd have to buy the really top tier, computer.
So let's be honest though.
Windows.
You're a developer. I've been around developers. I know a little bit about developing in general. It takes a lot to develop on two different platforms, two different systems, two different operating systems, whatever have you. everything so far has been set up for Windows, and it takes a lot of time to switch that over to,
Right, you have to replicate. A lot of it is you have to replicate a lot of it all over again. Like, you're reinventing the wheel. Like, let's say that you've created a game already. Like, let's say, I don't know, some shooter game. You'd almost have to, like, recreate a lot of that on the other, on the Mac or whatever, just because there's a lot of, like, I don't want to get too technical, but, like, there's just a lot of things that just don't line up well because it's a different operating system and things are purposely written differently because they want to be optimized for different things. So, and like you said, like, it's just that kind of technical, work.
And I think that's why they had to make it just Apple exclusive, because no developer is going to be like, let's develop for both systems. Why not? That sounds like a fun time, because they're going to be there forever. Designing a game for both systems. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But
I know that they do have, like, libraries and tools to, like,
they do.
That. But at the same time, there are just parts of that have to be done separately. Like, that's, like, you can only do so much on your own before you really have, when you dig down in there, you've got to, like, okay, well, this is laggy on, an Apple because it's not the same kind of operating system, and the calls are just, like, this function call actually takes longer on Apple.
And even the executables, I mean, just running certain things, like, they're not going to be the same executables you have on Windows. I mean, because I know that, like, a lot of games call for certain, like, battle eye, like, you know what I'm saying? And, like, things like that to check and see if people are hacking. They're called different things in Windows operating systems as compared to... That's just a terrible... see, I'm not a coder, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that for a fact that there are certain things that need to call out executables within...
Yeah, I think everyone who's probably played or downloaded anything, they've always scrolled and they saw, okay, Windows, Linux, app or Mac.
But .exe compared to
like which DMG? One do I download for which one am I downloading? And, like, so I see that, like, that's the problems, that they have to develop each one separately. Like, even though you can have some overlap between the couple executables, a lot of it has to be, taken out separately. And because of that, they almost always just make them separately, because, like, if we try to overlap and save ourselves work, sometimes we just end up running into problems where it's like, oh, if we just took this separately and tried to reinvent it all over again on a Mac, that would have been faster.
I think it would have been more intelligent for Apple. I'm not saying that they're not intelligent people, because they are, obviously. But if they were to just specialize in, say, working on, the phones, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the phone market has grown. Everyone has a phone. I mean, there's a lot of iPhone users out there. I can understand that, but tending to everything that, like, I don't know. I can't see it. They don't even have an actual gaming system set up. I mean, am I going to go and be like, Apple TV, let's play some video games? I don't see it, man. But
yeah, I just don't. I think it's going to be something that exists, but isn't going to be, like, taken seriously by gamers. Like, if you're, like, we already have the debate as whether or not Xbox, PS4, or console, or like console versus PS4, or no, console versus PCs.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
But, like, I feel like they're gonna have, like, it's gonna be the meme where you see, like, the console wars, and then you see
let's make that meme.
PC, and then you just see, like, Apple
6
Arcade
other things coming around, like Google, Apple, and display. Like, did you ever see the meme, the guy walking with his girlfriend, and then the girl walks by and he stares at him, and they're like, ooh. Like, it's going to be like, you're walking with PC and you see Apple product walking by, you're like, ooh, I don't think it's going to be that way. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be the other way around as soon as, like, because I think what's going to happen, honestly, I think that, let's say you have an Apple iPhone or something like that, and you start playing on, Apple Arcade. Pretty soon you're going to be like, wow, there's some other games out there that I really would like to play, but it's on PC for Windows. This guy is eventually going to realize, I need to get a Windows PC, and they're going to turn away from Apple.
Yep. I don't see them reinvesting themselves. Gamers are already set up with Windows. I don't see them being like, oh, let's buy an Apple product just to play Apple exclusive games. They're all expensive, except for Apple TV. I mean, Apple TV is probably the most expensive, like, streaming device out there. But I mean, I just don't see it. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, and even with Google Stadia, like, it's still the same service. I feel like you said, I don't see it, even with Google being such, widely accepted brand and company, I don't see it really taking any sort of stake or percentage of like the gaming market, really.
Yeah. Like if you said like Apple was going to team up with someone that's against Microsoft, like Nintendo or something, like, but now Nintendo's accepting Microsoft like things inside of Nintendo, but you know what I'm saying? Like if they teamed up with somebody else, maybe I could see something, maybe them piggybacking off of another system that already exists, but I can't see them like
trying to be a standalone gaming company.
Even Google, I still can't do it. Can't see it.
Yeah.
And thank you for listening to this episode of the Rad Gaming Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and rate and subscribe to us on iTunes or wherever else you listen to podcasts. We release a new episode every Wednesday and Friday. And as always, stay rad, comrades.